There is no doubt about it that by looking back at the very end of the sequel trilogy, a lot of fans were very much upset with both The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker by Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams, and of course even director Rian Johnson. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that we are now in a phase of Disney on the road to success here. They have already made a great example of what they can do with The Mandalorian Season 2 finale by introducing Luke Skywalker in the mix, by also having Ahsoka Tano in Chapter 13, and of course Boba Fett in several episodes. So this all leads to the Book of Boba, this all leads to Mando Season 3 and 4, by Jon Favreau really trying to establish a brand new universe with Dave Filoni by his side, as well as George Lucas. Now, given that the sequel trilogy had a lot of issues behind the scenes, especially with The Rise of Skywalker, all because of Kathleen Kennedy interrupting and causing such a problem, a lot of fans have always wanted to see the deleted scenes for Episode 9, as well as the scenes that did not make the cut of The Last Jedi as well. You guys may recall that Rian Johnson said in an interview about 3 years ago that The Last Jedi's original running time was around 3.5 hours, maybe 3 hours and 40 minutes, give or take. That's a lot of extra footage in comparison to what we got for Episode 8. Now, on top of all of this, what's really exciting all has to do with the Disney CEO, Bob Chapek. I feel that Bob has been doing an excellent job, with working with Bob Iger, the previous Disney CEO, helping him out throughout this year of 2020. Now, with The Mandalorian Season 2 now over, Disney and Lucasfilm are primarily focused on their new Star Wars projects for their universe. It's described that Bob Chapek is currently planning something huge for the franchise by essentially restarting the sequel trilogy using a very unique technique by releasing brand new cuts of both The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker for Disney+. Now, it's described that Bob Chapek is planning this with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, as well as Lucas, by providing a new cut of Episode 8 and 9 that are planned to release along with separate deleted scenes by the time of 2023 during the holiday season. So that's about 3 years. The new cuts of the films are aimed to be considered canon in the new Star Wars universe by applying many deleted scenes that will fit the story properly for Episodes 8 and 9, getting a complete makeover. Now, Chapek is said to have been impressed and inspired with the work done on the Snyder Cut of Justice League and wants to do the same with Star Wars, while also making the new cuts of the films canon for the entire fandom. It's noted that Chapek also plans to have a series of books, novels, and comics releasing leading up until the sequel trilogy that would actually reset aspects of the sequel trilogy movies by the time 2023 comes around, to really kind of give fans a different perspective on the 3 movies made by Disney. So, what's really interesting about this by Bob Chapek, this major plan that he does have, this comes off as him really trying to create his own legacy and really trying to satisfy the fans. One could very well argue that this is just pure damage control. I would like to argue that it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of damage control. I think it's also a bit of trying to really kind of keep Star Wars on its feet by making the fans that were so unhappy with the sequel trilogy actually happy, in order to ensure that everything moving ahead can very well be positive by also looking back at positivity from the past. Do I think that this is a waste of time? It could very well be. It all depends on the outcome. How significant these changes are going to be upon the fandom, how the feedback is going to be by the fandom, and what that really means for the overall franchise, right? So like I've said, I think that obviously Chapek is a man who cares about the fans and the overall franchise, but he's also a guy that is trying to create his own Star Wars legacy. Let's not forget about that. This is a guy that took over Bob Iger, which, by the way, Iger is still showing him the ropes to becoming a proper CEO until Iger steps down completely from Disney at some point in time next year. We're looking at Q1, Q2, where Iger is just going to completely just move away from Disney, and that's it. No longer associated in any way, shape, or form. So, the sequel trilogy, obviously, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, those are the two movies that had a lot of issues. The Force Awakens had a decent start. It still had, some problems here and there. Obviously, a lot of fans just really criticized it for being pretty much a rehash of A New Hope, and I get that. I understand that. But they were playing it safe. Bob Iger even admitted to that they were playing it safe because they were afraid about what was going to happen, and if something similar would happen to what George Lucas went through with the prequel trilogy movies. So they played it safe, they tried to create familiar scenery, familiar-esque characters and such, and that's exactly what they wanted to do. So, like I've said before in the past, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No, I'm not one from night to moon.